don't know the laws. You don't know anything except for what's on the other side of that wall.
The search for the American dream has turned into a nightmare for one family. While there are thousands of illegal immigrants living in the U.S. under the cloak of darkness, a local couple who tried to do the right thing ended up torn apart.
Immigration reform can be a polarizing story, no matter which side your opinion falls on.
But tonight we want to share with you the plight of a family from West Bloomfield, where a mother and her 2 children are fighting for the return of her husband, who has been banned from America.
And this was his best friend from Leon.
If you look at pictures of Manuel and Nikki Quintanilla, they look like the average American family. They have 2 kids, Brandon and Jaden. They both coach their kids' soccer team and volunteer at their school for everything imaginable. There's only one major problem. Manuel, who's 34, is from Mexico. He came here to America illegally when he was only 19. He couldn't even speak English.
They just didn't know any better. When you are not educated, you don't know. You don't know the laws. You don't know anything except for what's on the other side of that wall.
They were in search of the American dream. Manuel grew up in Leon, one of Mexico's poorest and most dangerous cities.
He came here to America to have a better life. He grew up very poor. He's been working since he was 6 years old.
Manuel met Nikki, who's 36, 10 years ago, while they both worked at a local restaurant. They began dating and have been married for 7 years. Their son Brandon was born 6 years ago. He didn't really worry about deportation because he thought,
why would they even look at me? I'm not a criminal. I'm not stealing. I'm not selling drugs. I'm just working here. Why would they even look for me?
Then 2 years ago, they hired an attorney to start the process for him to become a legal citizen.
His dream was to be an American citizen. That's all he wanted.
Nikki says they had to complete 3 steps. First, file a petition to the government. It was approved. Next, file an affidavit saying he would not apply for welfare. Lastly,
what we thought was the final step was the immigration interview, and so we had waited for 1.5 years for this interview.
But he had to go back to Mexico for the interview. No attorney or family member was allowed to be present.
He answered their questions the best he could, and the next thing you know, they shut the window. And when the lady opened it back up, she said, there's no waiver for you.
In January of this year, he was told he was banned from America for life.
He said, what about my children? What about my wife? And she said, they can come visit you. Can you imagine if someone told you you couldn't see your children? How do you cope? How do you react?
Proposed changes would allow illegal immigrants with American family members applying for legal residency to get a green card here in the U.S. rather than in the immigrant's home country. That way, family members would not remain separated for years on end. Nikki has contacted Senators Carl Levin and Debbie Stabenow, Governor Snyder, and President Obama.
Did they give you any glimmer of hope at all?
No. No.
When's the last time your little boy saw his father?
He hasn't seen his dad in over 5 months, and I don't know when he'll be back. And my son keeps asking me, when's Daddy gonna come home? And I don't know what to tell him. Love you, honey. We miss you.
Love him.
I miss you too.
We spoke to Manuel from Mexico by Skype.
I am keeping my hopes up. I got faith in the Lord, and the good family over there, they are doing everything they can to get me back.
Nikki's mother believes Manuel deserves a second chance.
He went there voluntarily to do everything right, and they have to look at each case individually and see that there needs to be some reform.
So at the end of the day, at the end of all of this, what would you like to see happen?
I came to you because I got a hope. At the end of the day, we did the right thing. At the end of the day, as Americans, we're human beings. We have no compassion for my husband and families like mine. Come on, this is the United States.
We contacted Governor Snyder's office. We were told this is a federal issue, not a state issue, and that Nikki would be better off contacting her congressional delegation because they have the ability to assist much more than the state level. We also contacted Senator Debbie Stabenow's office, and we were told Nikki already received a letter of response saying the Senate is working on immigration reform right now. We have yet to hear back from Senator Carl Levin's office, and it's such a difficult thing because when you talk about immigration reform, you want people who are here illegally to come forward and let people know that they're here. But then when you're banned for life, it's a very difficult situation.
Painful to watch. It must be so frustrating when everybody's telling you to go to a different direction and a different source for information.
Absolutely. And her one daughter has to stay here in Michigan because her father is here, and they are saying go live in Mexico, but she can't tear her family apart either. So
Sometimes it feels like the road will never end.
exactly.
Right.